Do video games these days suck? Well, if you had asked me 3 or 4 years ago, I probably would have said yes. But I would have also said that kids these days don't understand what real video games are, and hey, kids, get off my lawn. Or, of course, I would say that if I did have a lawn, but I'm actually part of the generation that can't afford a house and probably never will, so I don't really have my own lawn. But that's kind of besides the point. The point is, it's really easy for someone my age, 34, or someone really in their mid to late 30s, to say modern video games suck. Battle Royale style games like Fortnite, or the games that are absolutely mindless and have no point, like Minecraft. Why do kids these days like those games? And weren't games back in our day much better? Well, the issue with this is that, first of all, have I even played any of those games? Well, I actually have. I have played a few Fortnite games, and I have to say, it's actually much more fun than I thought it would be. And I think that's part one of the issue with anyone saying things back in their day were better. Well, yes, you're remembering things from your childhood, which are almost always going to be better. So that's the same with music, with movies, video games, almost any form of entertainment. Your mind is always going to think that what you grew up with was better. But was it actually better? Is it worse? I would say it's probably about the same. I think the entertainment value of a video game is really going to be generational. I think it's really going to matter how much energy you put into a game, and it's going to matter how much you get out of it. So if me playing Halo back in the day was a lot of fun, which it was, and I enjoyed my time, I invested my time and energy to play, to rank up, to mod, to do things with friends, then how is it really any different than a Minecraft or a Fortnite? Well, it really isn't, because at the end of the day, it matters how much entertainment you got out of it. It doesn't really matter what anyone else thinks, because I guarantee when I was sitting there playing Halo 1 or 2 back in 2001, 2004, and Halo 3 around 2007, people who grew up with maybe a Sega or a Nintendo were thinking that those games were stupid, because back in my day, we didn't have to worry about updating games. You would insert the disc, or in that case, probably a cartridge, and you would just go ahead and play. It was about playing with friends, having the highest score, stuff like that. You didn't worry about online games or having updates or having to worry about a game that's really small, but the actual amount of data it takes for a game is, bunch of megabytes, gigabytes, all this other stuff that you didn't have to worry about. You would insert the cartridge, you'd play the game, maybe it'd be a little dusty, that was about it. So I would think the older generation, older than myself even, are going to have the same opinion of my games that I would of the newer generation. And it's especially hypocritical if I don't actually play them. So if I look at Minecraft and think it's stupid, but I've never actually attempted a game, it's really unfair to say it's good or it's bad or whatever, just because the mechanics, the style of gameplay, how it interacts with people, whether it's online or trying to play with people in person, or even the idea that most games are discovered or even possibly enjoyed through play-alongs rather than someone actually playing it themselves. That's really not much different than passing the sticks or watching your older brother beat a game and then you want to play it because you're inspired, you saw them play it. It's not really much different than watching someone play it on a screen. Of course, it kind of gets rid of that camaraderie and the in-person fun of maybe a LAN party or switching the sticks, but really it's kind of the same thing. You're just being entertained at the end of the day, and that's sort of all that matters. Even with leveling up and buying skins in games, that's not really much different than trying to level up back in the day in another game. Again, let's use a Call of Duty or a Halo as an example. I mean, the game mechanics are a little bit different, and the in-app purchases have gotten way out of control now, but the actual fun of the gameplay itself really hasn't changed all that much. So I think it's mostly just the grandpa syndrome setting in. So, do I think modern games suck? Not really. But I do think that there is some value in maybe someone who enjoys some of the newer games, maybe spending some time exploring and enjoying some of the older games that exist. I could tell you from someone who was born in 1990, I was not born when the Atari 2600 was out, or when it was popular, or even really readily available at all, because it came out in the late 70s, and even to get your hands on one maybe in the 90s was probably a little harder than you would imagine, but it is possible. And I have gotten my hands on one since, and I have played it, and I did enjoy it. So I will say, like with anything else, it's probably worth at least checking out some of the older games, because you don't want to have the opposite either. You don't want to be in that situation where you're the newest generation and then only what you like is good either, because games are meant to be fun. And there are a lot of fun older games that you will miss out on and you won't enjoy. And it's not going to help having the grumpy grandpa coming in and saying that your games suck either. So I think it goes both ways. I think as much as I can admit that newer games are probably way more fun than I give them credit for, and maybe I just don't understand the way that people interact with the games nowadays, that is perfectly understandable. But I think don't necessarily ignore some of the older games out there either. I think they're worth trying, and if you can get your hands on them, maybe even an emulator, it's probably worth trying. So let me know what you think in the comments. I'll see you in the next video.